Hi, Madhav. It's nice to see that you've sent us your first set of essays. Let's take a look at what you've written here. This is about schools and whether they should entertain or be academic only. Here's what you wrote. Traditionally, schools have only been considered a source of gaining education, but recent years have seen students participating, in entertaining activities at schools. At school, singular. I totally agree that institutes certainly need to have co-curricular projects which can help children develop different skills and refresh their mind from constantly studying. This essay will discuss why schools must make their environment balanced with fun and education. All right, so far so good. Firstly, many schools in the last decade have begun to introduce a variety of engaging courses such as music and sports, in addition to the standard academic curriculum. Let me see. Okay. This is largely because children can learn various other skills that books cannot provide. For example, a recent study by MIT showed that students who played sports at schools demonstrated great leadership skills when compared to non-sports playing counterparts. You probably should have said greater here. I even automatically said it, but you should have written it. Okay. Therefore, rendering extracurricular activities at school is pivotal in students' development and success. All right, rendering is the wrong word here. Now, my concern with this paragraph is that you're talking about sports and how they help students gain leadership skills, and that's very nice, but I am not so sure about how, let's see, how can I say this? How appropriate that is. Basically, let's see. How can I put this? All right, you talk about music and sports, but the thing is you need to remember that you have to tie in this idea of entertainment. You haven't really done that. So it feels like what you're doing here is you're making this assumption that sports are entertaining, but that's not necessarily the case. In fact, people who are really committed to sports would argue that no, it's not entertaining. In fact, it's difficult and challenging and requires a lot of dedication. So another thing that I want you to do is I want you, as you continue on in the course, when you read the prompt, I want you to look at some of these words that require maybe a little more analysis. Like the word entertaining here. What is meant by the word entertaining? It means amusing, fun, something that provides joy and happiness. So you have to structure your paragraphs in such a way that you're talking about activities that provide this sort of feeling, okay? Now, if sports and music can do that, then you have to explain that and include that in your essay, all right? And the reason why I say that is because an examiner could look at something else, like this paragraph, and say, well, kind of, but not really. And so that's going to affect your task achievement score, all right? So let's move on and see what you wrote in the next paragraph. Secondly, reading textbooks for multiple hours is not a healthy process to learn. No. Is not a healthy process to learn. But secondly, reading textbooks for multiple hours is not a healthy, not process. I don't know. There's something about this is awkward, but I just can't seem to find a better way to fix it. As it becomes increasingly difficult to retain any new information. It is due to the fact that the human brain's storage capacity is quite limited. New research by scientists discovered that taking short breaks from studying can help students learn efficiently. As a consequence, delightful activities at school will allow students to rejuvenate their mind before they step down to grasp new concepts. All right, step down is also the wrong word here. That's okay. This is more on topic, but what you didn't do is you didn't really give us any real evidence. So it all sounds very theoretical, but it just needs, it's a little too general and it doesn't have enough development, enough illustration, enough example, something to kind of let the reader understand what kind of activities you're talking about and, what kind of activities would help rejuvenate the mind, all right? So including some of that information, developing this just a step further would really be helpful. All right, so to conclude, supplementing academics with exciting fun-filled activities will significantly boost the development and focus among the students. The positive insights from the research mentioned above, no comma here, will encourage the school boards to make it mandatory for all schools to include co-curricular activities. All right, that's fine. So This is well written. Your grammar and vocabulary are pretty well controlled. I mean, there were a couple of errors, but nothing really, really serious. For me, what needs to be worked on in this essay is the task achievement. All right, and I think I spent quite a bit of time telling you which areas needed a little extra work. But the good news is that you've gotten a lot of the things down correctly. So in other words, the structure, you've used the template fairly well. And your grammar and vocabulary are fairly well controlled as well. So that's a good starting point. It's pretty typical that people have a hard time with task achievement. In fact, in my experience, it's the area where people struggle the most in IELTS. So not a big deal. Let's move on and take a look at your second essay, see what you wrote there. This is one about doing an enjoyable activity. Here's what you said. Although reading can help children to improve their language, it is not useful to develop various other skills that they may learn doing a delightful activity. I completely agree that children can boost their physical and mental ability by engaging in activities such as playing PlayStation and sports. This will discuss the importance of fun activities on a child's development. Okay, fine. Firstly, playing certain video games such as Pac-Man can positively enhance a child's cognitive skills such as responsiveness and alertness. This is largely because such games challenge, no S, a player with good coordination between his logical reasoning and actions. For example, it was recently discovered through research, get rid of A, the children who play video games at least 2 hours a day are more active than their counterparts who did not play. Therefore, computerized games can significantly improve brain power. Okay, this was fine. What I didn't understand was this sentence here. They are more active than their counterparts who did not play. I didn't understand that because here you were talking about responsiveness and alertness. Here you're talking about logical reasoning and actions. So I didn't understand what being more active had to do with any of this. That kind of confused me. So that needs a little clarification. Other than that, the paragraph was fine. Let's move on. Secondly, involvement in sports can help children feel rejuvenated and can increase their physical endurance. This is due to the fact that people tend to run, sprint, and jump, which spikes up the blood flow to the brain, making it vigorous. You need a comma here, and I don't like the word vigorous. You can't say that, oh, my brain is vigorous today. It doesn't work. It's the wrong word. For instance, a study conducted by a group of psychologists, showed that children who regularly play sports are very less likely to be victims of lethargy, stress, and depression. As a consequence, parents should encourage their children to be involved in sports. Okay. I think what you're trying to say is that being involved in sports makes children more active. That sounds like what you're saying here. All right, I'll go with it, but you're not really talking about a skill, are you? I think you just said that they tend to be less lethargic, stressed, and depressed. But you're not really talking about a skill. So my concern is this, all right? That's the one thing. Let's move on, and I'll tell you what other concern I have. To conclude, recreational activities such as online gaming and sports can render some unique skills that can help children's growth and development, which would be nearly impossible to acquire by reading alone. Hopefully, parents will encourage their children to play enjoyable activities. Okay? So, take a look at this. This is what I want to point out to you. Develop better skills and more creativity. Okay? Your first body paragraph talked about some skills. I already mentioned to you that I didn't think your second body paragraph talked about skills, but what's definitely missing from this essay is the inclusion of creativity. You didn't talk about it at all, and that for me is the biggest weakness. That will absolutely lower your task achievement score. It's as if you've only talked about the task partially. You haven't completely answered the question, so that's a big problem. All right, it will absolutely lower your task achievement score. However, I'll say again that I thought your writing itself was very good, good grammar, good vocabulary. Yeah, there were some mistakes, but nothing really serious, things that I'm certain that you can improve throughout the course. All right, so here's what I want you to do. Correct the essays, create an error correction list, and then send us a new set of essays, okay? Try to do all of this within the next day or so to apply everything you've been learning. I'll be here waiting for them, so good luck to you.